Yeah, so the new Quality Enhancement Plan is on sustainability literacy, and specifically titled Sustainability Literacy as a Bridge to Addressing 21st Century Problems. And some of these problems are, for example, sea level rise triggered by climate change, social inequality, social injustice, economic inequality, and together these three make up the triple bottom line of sustainability. So our QEP focuses on that, and we call it Train Your Brain to Sustain. To do that, they're going to need new ways of thinking, interdisciplinary problem-solving skills, ability to teamwork, to understand and advocate for resiliency. And by doing so and getting those skills, they're also going to be better prepared for the emerging job market. It's going to require emerging graduates to be able to solve these problems specifically. And so at the college, we're really excited to start this new QEP on sustainability literacy.
We're promoting sustainability literacy, and what that means is understanding how humans can become sustainable in three really important ways, right? So our environmental sustainability, our economic, and our social sustainability need to come together, and humans need to get on board. So understanding what the problem is our first step towards figuring out the solution. And an environmental understanding of sustainability is crucial. We're having enormous human impact. We're sort of this meteor, if you will, a human plague almost. We're having a massive impact on the planet in terms of species extinctions at a rate we've never before seen, exploitation of resources to the point where they just can't recover back to their normal levels. So we need to get on a path towards sustainability because our very livelihood depends on it. I think humans need to figure out how to reconnect with nature. We often forget because we feel disconnected, and we have that disconnect in our modern times, that we're part of nature. We're utterly dependent on nature for our clean air, for our clean water, for our very nourishment. So figuring out how we can fit back in and live sustainably, that's the biggest challenge that we'll face in the 21st century. One aspect of sustainability that comes to mind that is really giving me a lot of optimism these days is biomimicry, and that's the idea that we can learn from nature. So looking to nature as a sort of a mentor rather than resources to be exploited. So in order for biomimicry and sustainability to become a reality, we need to have students of all disciplines join the conversation. And that's what is especially attractive to me about the possibility that biomimicry has for solving our sustainability issues and getting us on track towards a sustainable future.
Well, I've always felt that a lot of our students, they may hear about poverty, they may hear about inequalities and disproportionalities, but not necessarily truly understand it, have never really been taught it from this particular perspective. When I talk about, for example, access to healthcare inequality, just basic health access, going to the doctor, I tell them to think back to their own hometowns. Then I ask them, where are the hospitals located versus where are the clinics located? And then you can see it kind of turning in their minds like, wow, I've never thought of that before. Then I throw in a little addition about the food, but also talk about access in terms of transportation to and from these healthcare facilities. And it's that at that moment that a lot of students start to piece together what they've always seen in their hometowns, but never really consciously thought about. But when I give them the real world examples and they can physically see it and tangibly have some access to it, I think that's when it hits home, being from low income or being from a very wealthy family. Most of the students that I come across, black, white, or otherwise, tend to think individuals who are poor, they choose to be. Individuals who are sick choose not to go to the doctor. And it's a little bit more complicated than that. To discuss the relevancy of, again, racism, sexism, environmental factors, all of these things, I think it creates a better, well-rounded overall student. And so when our students leave the College of Charleston with a degree in business, but they may have taken a class in sociology, that they can now connect the pieces of how all these things interlock and they work together. Again, I would argue that is the beauty of a liberal arts education. Students who leave my class, and those particularly who come back and take future classes, I would like to think that I've embedded in them some form of creating some sustainability literacy that is allowing them to, again, become better prepared to deal with what the world is going to offer them once they leave.
Economic sustainability you can think of as the quality of living for a population. We talk about that as income. You might talk about that as people above the poverty line. So can they continue living the way they live today in a good enough quality of life that 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years from now, if they continue at the same rate of consumption, can future generations also have that same quality of life? So one of the things we want to think about when we're talking about economic sustainability, to put it into context, what is insustainability? What does it mean to not be sustainable? What we see today is the growing income inequality in this country and around the world is not sustainable. So a simple way to think about that is that we have a trend where more and more of the wealth is being concentrated in just a few people. That continues. How long can it continue? Not indefinitely, because eventually that means one person owns the world. That's what unsustainability is, economically in particular. Well, I think students need to understand economic sustainability because it's so interrelated to everything else. They're going to be facing a world that's complex and changing. In order to address problems that they're going to face, whether it's personal, whether it's their family, their business, their community, they're going to have to get to the root of the problem in order to solve it. And the economic part of it is essential. Economic sustainability is something you can't really look at on its own. It is definitely interactive with the social and environmental aspects. You cannot really, for the really complex problems, you cannot separate them. One example I use all the time is the Flint, Michigan crisis. Right? It's not just an environmental problem with pollution in the water. It's not just a social problem with health and sickness and all that. And it's not just an economic problem, which kind of caused it, trying to save money. You have to look at all of them together. One of the things that I've seen is that when solutions actually work, it's addressing all of them. Sustainability literacy as a bridge to solving 21st century problems. The 21st century problems are complex problems. They are not going to be solved individually. Students will need creative problem solving methods, interdisciplinary thinking, critical thinking, systems thinking. All of that is going to be enabled in the students through the sustainability literacy programs that they're going to go through.
To learn more about the College of Charleston's Quality Enhancement Plan on Sustainability Literacy as a bridge to addressing 21st century problems, we invite you to go to sustain.cfc.edu.